What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down one of the best routes wide receivers can learn to win every single one-on-one situation and when you get that man coverage situation in a live game. So we're going to be talking a lot about the whip route today. So we're going to talk about how you guys can sell a whip, some of the common mistakes that wide receivers will make when they run a whip route, and how you guys can break on the inside foot or the outside foot to get out in 2 steps or 3. So I hope this video helps you guys out, but also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to get some work in with us this offseason, we are traveling out to 3 more states for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. So next up on our travel list is we are coming out to Nashville, Tennessee. Then we'll be heading out to Salt Lake City, Utah. And then we'll finish off the tour in Los Angeles, California. So fellas, these are not those big showcase combine camps where we just time you in a 40 and there's like 800 people there. These are small group settings. You'll be in a group of no more than 10 to 12 guys. And we're actually going to coach you for 4 hours each day for 2 days. So if you guys are interested in this, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get started with this video. So now, first things first on this whip route. So what is a whip route? For some of you that don't know, some people refer to it as a pivot route. Some people refer to it as a zig route. So it's pretty much where you're going to cross this DB's face. Now it could be off of a slant stem or it could be off of a drag stem. But pretty much let's think of it like a slant for right now. You're going up 3 steps over the middle, then whipping it back out. Some guys like to go off a drag now. They will just literally go straight there right now and then whip it right back out. And you are breaking with your hips and shoulders facing that line of scrimmage. Now, let's play this clip full speed because this pretty much is as textbook as it gets. So this wide receiver, Deontay Johnson, breaks to the middle, snaps this thing off, gets that DB to bite on the slant, and then I can burst back upfield. So if you're a team that likes to run a lot of drags, right? A lot of drags, you will see this. A lot of slants, you will see this. But it's just essentially a double move. So one of the main keys is we're obviously trying to get this DB to bite on what? Trying to get him to bite on the drag. So the things that will get this DB to bite on the drag are obviously you don't have to be looking back to the quarterback, especially when it's a drag route that you're trying to sell. Because when you run a drag, and let's say the formation, let's say the linemen are over here to the left, you're catching the ball on the opposite side of the lineman. So you don't need to look back for that ball. That would probably actually work against you because you'd be slowing down. So you could keep your head down, no problem. If you're selling this thing off of a slant, then yeah, maybe you'd want to look back with your eyes. Now, the main key, one of the main mistakes that wide receivers will make when they run this whip route against one-on-ones is that they'll break on the slant, and right before the break point, they start to turn this shoulder and turn this hip. So when a DB is in man coverage, fellas, where is he supposed to be watching? He's supposed to be watching my hips. So if he starts to feel you read up to the break point, he starts to feel you start to turn your shoulder, turn your hip, yeah, you might get out of it pretty clean. You might be out of it in 2 steps, 3 steps, depending on the foot that you snap down with. We're going to talk about that in a second. But you're not selling the route. The break point is going to be slow. What you guys have to do to sell this thing is you got to make sure that your hips and your shoulders are committed fully to that break point. And that hip drop is what will get you out of the break. So if you guys run up to this thing and start to round, you're just doing yourself no favors. This DB will be able to see that because that is what he is trying to read, your body language. Now, another thing that guys will look for, especially when you're trying to sell a drag, is they'll feel that stride length. Because again, a DB's watching your hips, trying to see what you're going to do, see if he can feel any indicators, but he's also going off a feel. If he feels your stride start to chop right before that break point, he knows that it's not an actual slant. It is not an actual drag because nobody runs it like that. So let's make sure to sell this slant, to sell the drag, to get this DB to bite. I got to make sure that my hips and shoulders are committed and I am running full speed. Now, easier said than done because a lot of people will do that. And then when they get to this break point right here, they take the choppy steps. They beat the drum with their hands, and it's all this unnecessary movement that just wastes time. We want to be able to drop on a dime and be able to get out of this thing in the least amount of time and the least amount of steps. Now, you know me, if you're familiar with these videos, I'm not a big steps guy. I'm not the guy who's going to tell you that it always has to be 2 steps. It always has to be 3. But on a whip route, to run it efficiently, it kind of does. Now, when you guys break on this, some people will run this whip route and they will snap down with their outside foot. So in this case, that would be Johnson's left foot, or they'll snap down with their inside foot, which in this case will be the right foot. In the next example we're going to look at, it'll be the break with the inside foot. And all that pretty much serves to do is get you out of the break in one less step and just less time. So when you guys are selling, normally if you're going to break off the outside foot, it's going to be off of your 4th total step or your 2nd outside. So you see how we break off here? That's the first step of the movement right there. That's the 2nd, that's the 3rd, snapping right on that 4th step right here. Now on that 4th step, that's called the trigger step. you have to drop those hips violently on that fourth step. And when I mean on the fourth step, I mean you're not chopping your feet and then dropping. I mean you're not slowing down and then dropping. It is right on that fourth, you were dropping that pad level. Somebody pulled that string and brought it to your knee. Because this low position right here is how we're able to put the brakes on. Because on a whip route, there is nothing worse than a guy who will run and then drift upfield. That DB is able to make a play. He has more time to react. We have to drop right away. So now when you drop, the steps matter because you got to be able to get your hips out of the brake. So he snaps down. Second step, you see how he pivots. That pivot step is crucial. Because if you try to do this pivot step and you see, oh, his knee's at a weird angle, that's a dangerous cut. If you try to do this pivot step without getting low on your third step, pretty much you could hurt yourself. That's a ton of pressure on your knee. So we got to make sure that we get low. So I snap there, I pivot there, and I hook the third step around. Now, if you guys are able to maintain that low explosive position as you snap, pivot, hook, now you're in a good position to drive. And when you could drive off of that plant leg and you guys have that positive shin angle, which I mean the shin angles are almost at like a 45-degree angle towards the sideline, that's going to get you open. If you guys can sell, if you guys can commit the body, if you guys can run hard, run in full stride, dropping on a single step, get low, pivot, hook the feet around, and be able to accelerate out of the break due to that explosive hip drop, I guarantee you this route will be unguardable. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Johnson selling the drag. Great job snapping with the outside foot and then being able to drive out of this route. So now, this clip here from Sterling Shepard is going to be a drop on the inside foot. So when you drop on the inside foot, this is probably more common, I would say, off of a slant route, just because the steps time up like that. So like if he was running a slant route right here, obviously his left foot would be up. He would be going like this. Like let's say this is his left foot. Let's say this is the right. He's in his stance. He would be going right, left, right, breaking off of this one. And then he would go left, right, snap on the left, hook the right foot around, and then be able to drive out. So he would snap on the inside foot and he would have to hook the outside foot around. Now, it'll make more sense when I play at full speed, but commonly you'd see this more so on a slant break. So he comes off here, sells the route, full speed hips, right? Now, that's the key right there. That hip drop that you see, he's snapping on the inside foot. Again, breaks off of that, 1, 2, on the third step. That third step, him snapping, him bringing his chin to his knee, that low position is how you guys are able to slow down when you're actually running full speed. If you guys aren't running full speed, it ain't going to make a difference. You're like, oh, well, I can do this without getting low. You're probably not running hard enough. To sell that whip and to really sell that whip, you got to run hard. So this is obviously the harder break. It's easier to take 3 steps on this. But when you snap on that inside foot and you're able to hook the outside foot around and get to that positive shin angle position, that 45-degree angle, and you could drive off of that second step without taking extra steps, because a lot of times guys will snap, they'll hook, and they take 2 more with that left and that right foot. And that's not the end of the world. It just takes a little bit longer. But if you guys can eventually get to this spot where you're snapping on the inside leg, hooking that leg around, and you could just drive off of it, that is so much wasted time eliminated at that break point. But you got to make sure that we sell the route, fellas. So either way, reason why I include that is just to show you that you're not wrong if you snap on the inside foot and you're not wrong if you snap on the outside foot. More commonly on a slant, like a slant route stem to the whip, you would see the inside foot. More commonly the outside on the drag, but it could be used interchangeably. It could be either one. Just know that if it's outside foot, it would be 4th step. Inside foot, it's 3rd step. But fellas, if you could master these things that we talked about, this route is pretty much unguardable. You make it look like a slant, run a couple slants, run a couple drags, and then bam, we hit him on this whip route. And this is a great route to use in the goal line for easy money touchdowns. Play this thing again, full speed. Great job by Shepard selling, snapping on the inside foot, and then hooking that outside foot around to get his hips out. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section. We always appreciate the feedback. Always great to hear from you guys as usual. And again, if you'd like to get some work in with us, fellas, we're traveling out to 3 more states, 3 more cities across the country. So check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.